When it comes to the system of white supremacy, there are still practices that are in place today. The practice of appraisal discrimination that helps form the wealth gap in the U.S. still occurs. However, there are some who refuse to believe despite the evidence. But as you'll see, it's not a problem of evidence. One of those people is a guy named Patrick Bet David. Listen to this exchange.
And the teacher's obviously the teacher's going to be a Democrat because she's presenting how rich people are disparate. I'm like, okay, great, rich people are bad. So I come home.
I obviously
13-1. That's the number. That's
dude.
the
I had a whole lot of damn Republican teachers in my life.
Well, I like stats, and the stats are 13-1 is Democrats to Republican. You know the stats. So
okay.
I come home and I say, Mom, are we Republicans or Democrats?
I want to play this for you first. Notice how he said he likes stats. This is a bit earlier in the debate, but it's poignant. In this case, he accepts the stats of the 13-1 ratio in the school system of Democrat teachers to Republican teachers. I don't know if this stat is true, but it really doesn't matter. The point is he likes stats. Remember that for later.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Do you even know today? We've done the stories in Florida. When somebody's black selling their house, the appraisers will come in and literally give them a value $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're black. You know that's actually happened, right?
You'll take one story and say that.
Oh my God!
On how many occasions has that happened?
Are you serious?
Do you think a message like
okay? Why don't you go ahead and Google? Why don't you go ahead and Google?
How many times has that happened? No, I believe it's happened, but how many times has that happened?
The New York Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals. This is a fundamental problem.
This 4-bedroom home in the hills of Marin, north of San Francisco, offers lots of light, water views, a school right down the hill.
So the house used to end right here.
Owners Paul Austin and Tanisha Tate Austin knew it was worth at least $1.3 million based on a 2019 appraisal. But looking to borrow as the housing market heated up, Paul met a new appraiser and showed her around.
And what was the number value? You open up that piece of paper and what is it?
Oh, $998,000.
Less than $1 million.
Less than $1 million.
Which means almost $400,000 less than the appraisal you'd gotten a year earlier.
Yes.
And so they applied for a new appraisal, but this time
I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to get the appraisal that my house is supposed to get.
And in the United States, what is your best guarantee of getting the best rate possible?
Being white.
Being white.
So they worked to erase themselves from their own home.
All of our art, took that away, pictures of our family, anything that, would resemble that this home belongs to a black family. Just grabbed it all, put it all in the shed, put it all away.
And they asked a white friend to stand in when the new appraiser arrived.
So this time you open the paper and it says what?
1.482.
Yes. $500,000 difference.
Imagine what that money can do for a family. That's seed money for a business. That's a second home you could rent out. That's college tuition.
I'm trying to see, you're living in a different reality.
What progress are you making by saying that?
What progress?
So what you're doing?
I'm trying to end that. Okay. Do you know how inherent? Okay, hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
You're trying to.
Hold on. You said you're Middle Eastern, right?
I am. Yes.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
Yes.
If you're selling your home, you've got a home that
right,
and you put upgrades in it, and your home is worth $500,000.
Yeah.
And somebody comes into your home, and they see your photos,
right,
and they see your family, and then they go back and they go $350,000. You go, what the hell?
So you tell that story.
Wait, one second.
To get people to be convinced that that's happening.
It's actually
out of 1,000 appraisals.
Oh my God.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times has that happened?
So the question was, out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times has this happened? This is a way to minimize the harm done, to ask a question that you can't have an answer to. How would an individual know if it had happened to them? Just think about it for a second. Unless they went through the same whitewashing process that the video portrayed and had the appraisal redone, they wouldn't have known. As you may or may not know, appraisals aren't cheap. I know when we got our appraisal done for our house, it was $525. The only way we can determine if this practice is recurring is by having a study done with a large data set of information.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen?
You want to pull that up?
Tell
you want
me.
him to pull that up?
That's your world, though. Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
It is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God!
And wait 1 second. And then when the woman, a black person should not have to remove their photos from the wall and remove black art and remove black books to have a white appraiser then come in and go, oh, it's actually 550.
So
one second, because I'm gonna show you how it impacts generationally.
Here we go.
So when you follow me here, because this is housing discrimination in America. When you then get that low appraisal, you then cannot sell your house for the higher value, which then means you are not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. And what I'm trying to explain to you is there is a world out here that for some reason you're like living in Unity world that ain't the real America.
Brother, when you ask the question, what do you do if they appraise your house $350,000 less, right? That's your question. Okay. I don't see myself as a victim. I stopped looking at myself as a victim a long time ago. And by the way, being Armenian and Assyrian, you know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? You know what a lot of people in the Armenian community do? They sell victimhood mentality. I'm raised with that, which is the statement of mechka. I know you don't know what the word mechka means. Mechka means, oh, poor Roland. Oh, poor PBD.
Another thing we have to be wary of is this notion that when we describe or otherwise prove the system as victimizing us as a people, the knee-jerk reaction coming from the other side is to say, don't be a victim. It's usually not, hey, that's a wrong done by the system. We should team up and fix it. We never hear that. It's always, don't be a victim, which is another way of saying, shut the fuck up about it, which is a strange thing to say, but it's said because they don't want to face what the system is actually doing.
I don't see myself as a victim. And the other part is when you use one story as an example to divide and get people even angrier because out of 1,000 appraisals this happened one time,
The guy who loves stats just made one up. Not only did he make it up, he's going to run with it as a fact.
I don't think you're unifying when you say a statement like that to say, hey, this is what's taking place all the time. But going back to it, so you left because you wanted better economic situation for yourself.
Listen to what you just said. Again,
I'm having a hard time listening to what you just said when you're saying
it's so fundamentally flawed because when you say, "Oh my God," you see yourself as a victim.
You do.
No,
you're selling it as a victim.
No, I'm not. What I'm selling is a reality. What I'm selling is when this is again. Since you didn't, I guess you couldn't pull it up. Okay.
Oh, he did pull it up.
Okay, the Biden administration, the Federal Housing and Finance Agency released 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time. The appraisals, which were compiled between 2013 and 2021, present evidence of a persistent, widespread practice in the home appraisal industry to give higher values to homes when the occupants are white and devalue them if the owners are people of color.
That's such bullshit. That's such bullshit. You know why?
Hold up.
Let me tell you why that's such. Why I like stats, and the stats are 13-1 is Democrats to Republican. You know the stats. It's bullshit.
They actually took the reports and showed the data, and now you call it bullshit.
Of course I call it bullshit.
So you asked for the data and the facts.
No.
And now you give your opinion because you don't like the facts.
Bro.
Come on, man.
Do you run a company?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when you run a company, how much shit can I find in the OPEX? How much
in the what?
With OPEX. When I go into my balance sheet and I look at my expenses, my monthly expenses, what I'm paying for, rent, employees, benefits, workers' comp, I can give a number and say, we lost $280,000 this year. And it's like, oh my God, we lost $280,000. And then I open up the balance sheet and then boom, I'll see you're moving your face like you don't know what I'm talking about.
First of all,
when I see a data like this, tell me the whole story. To jump to conclusion with something like this without seeing the entire story is ludicrous to make a comment like that. But
analyzing the millions of appraisals by using census tracts as a proxy for neighborhoods and comparing communities with nearly identical housing stock, two researchers found that the results showed a clear correlation. The higher the proportion of white residents in each community, the higher the appraised value of individual homes. They compared similar data. See, again, you want to reject the facts. And what I'm trying to explain to you
I am refusing to constantly have people give data without me having access to the entire thing just for their own benefit to divide
So
it.
what you're saying is, in order for you need access to the 47 million home appraisals.
I'd love to
for
see
yourself.
it. I would love to see it.
Okay, guess what? It's a federal agency. File a FOIA.
I'd love to see it.
File a FOIA.
But here's file a what?
A FOIA.
Okay, so I'd love to see it. You know why? Here's the part. How often do you see data being used and we don't know the whole story? Both sides.
Earlier, when he gave the stats on the ratio of teachers being 13-1 in favor of Democrats, do you think he demanded to see all the data before he believed that stat is fact? Did he call bull like he did this study? Did he question whether the numbers were being manipulated? I don't know the answer to that, but if we thought about it real hard, we know the answer to that. You see, it's not a problem of stats. He made up his own stats. It's not a problem of how often it occurs. It's not an issue of doing a study. He rejected the study. These facts go against his deeply held, almost religious-like belief that the U.S. can't be systemically racist, no matter the evidence. This is truly what we're up against. People who want to believe what they want to believe, regardless of the evidence, regardless of the stats. This is what they're going to believe, and they're going to defend that belief.